Lumada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lumada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lumada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lumada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you for joining me. Happy Wednesday, wherever you are today. Thank you for being here as always. And indeed, we do have another amazing book lined up. So get ready for that one. Get comfortable, get cozy, as we'll be getting to share that book very shortly. Thank you so much for joining in, and welcome to Story Time. And this one is coming back to Story Time after a while, and it is here again today, and we celebrate it. We are happy to have it here on Story Time today. This one is indeed called Mr. Watson's Chickens, and this one is written by JARRETT, DAPIER, and illustrations by ANDREA, TSURUMI. Thank you so much for joining in, and welcome to Story Time. And we're reading this one with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. A very good morning to you all, and wherever you're joining us today, we hope that it is indeed lovely out where you are. Thank you for being here. Mr. Watson's Chickens are here, yes, to serenade us, to keep us company today. Thank you so much for joining in, and welcome. Please let us know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. And if you're joining us on all the platforms, Facebook, YouTube, please remember to type a message, send us a message, let us know that you are here indeed, so we can say hello to you and whoever else is joining in with you. I am glad that you are here with us on Story Time today, joining us. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. I hope that you are well, and it is well where you are. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome. Another lovely book awaits us today, and I hope that you are ready for this one. Coming to you shortly right here on Story Time, with big thanks to Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Oh yes, let us see who else is with us this morning, ready to enjoy a wonderful story. Good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday one more time. Thank you so much for joining in, and glad we're here together. And as you know too, remember that this is Pride Month. We continue to celebrate Pride Month, and of course special books are here on Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in, and welcome. Oh yes, good morning to you. How are you doing today out in St. Louis? How are you doing? Thank you so much. I know with the heat that is happening out there, I'm glad that you're still able to join us. Sarah and Nathan haven't melted away. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Story Time. Amanda West, thank you so much for joining in as well. Welcome. Please do try and stay cool out there. Lots of ice cream, I'm assuming, and good stuff. Thank you so much for joining in. Welcome. And I hope that you are having a lovely time out there. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Story Time. Oh, yes, indeed. Good morning to you out in Washington. Ali Amin, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in, and welcome indeed. Jessica, good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am glad you are here. Well, you know what, Ali Amin, you're not the only one that is excited for this book today. We are too. Thank you so much for sharing your excitement, and I hope that it brings you so much joy today reading this book together, and I hope that you enjoy it to the max. Thank you so much for being here, and indeed for sharing that excitement with us. That's what Story Time is about, to share books, be excited about them, and of course be excited about reading reading amazing books together. Thank you so much to Chronicle Books for allowing us to read this one here today. And of course, JARRETT DAPIER and ANDREA TSURUMI, thank you indeed for this wonderful creation that you've put out for us to enjoy. Thank you so much. And indeed, I hope that we enjoy it together. Thank you for joining us. Please let us know where you are and who is joining in with you. If you're joining us later on for the recordings, we send you love and we're sending you positive vibes. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Storytime. Yes, indeed. Out here in Oakland, we are having our own, it is warm compared to St. Louis and everything else that is happening around the country. We are warm. We're okay. Today, I think should be close to 80, maybe 79 thereabouts. So it is, I'm not complaining today. It is good out here. Thank you so much for joining in. And I know that there are some inland places that will definitely have harder weather today, but please find those spaces, especially if there are any elderly neighbors or anybody that may need to get to a place that is cooler, please check in on them and see if you are able to help in any way. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime and welcome. We get ready for our story. Please get comfortable, get cozy, go and grab that cool drink right now and bring it back to your cozy corner, your cozy spot, and get to enjoy this wonderful book, Mr. Watson's Chickens, coming up after the break. Join me on the other side of this short break. Thank you so much for being here with us. Much appreciations to each and every one of you. All right, here we go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Davis. I'm a children's book author, illustrator, and high school art educator. I am the author of 30,000 Stitches, the inspiring story of the National 9/11 flag, illustrated by Sally Warren Comport and published with Worthy Kids # book group. One thing that drew me to writing 30,000 Stitches was the idea that people from all different communities came out to stitch this flag and make it whole again. So I hope that when people read 30,000 Stitches, they remember the power of sharing our stories. When people came out to stitch the flag, they shared their stories, whether about loss or pain or love. We all have stories to tell, and by sharing our stories and listening to one another's stories, we can create a better understanding of each other and create a sense of connection and unity. And this is what creates a more inclusive world. I hope you enjoy your story time with Mr. LaMotta. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, Amanda. As always, please check out 30,000 Stitches. It is indeed a beautiful book, beautiful story, and inspiring. But a more inclusive world is what we aim for, and that is what Storytime is all about too. We want to make sure that we celebrate everybody, we accept everybody, we welcome everybody, and we too want to be accepted. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope that you enjoy this lovely book that we have today, Mr. Watson's Chickens. This one coming to you from JARRETT DAPIER and ANDREA TSURUMI. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime for this wonderful creation. And of course, a big thank you to Chronicle Books for allowing us to read this wonderful book right here together today. Here we go. Chickens, eggs, yes. All right. Mr. Watson's Chickens. Written by JARRETT DAPIER, illustrations by ANDREA TSURUMI, and read with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Mr. Watson lived with Mr. Nelson in a big honking house with a teeny tiny yard in a big honking city. And in that teeny tiny yard, he kept 2 dogs, 3 cats, and a handful of chickens. Do you have any pets? What do you have? Who's with you? And in that teeny tiny yard, he kept 2 dogs, 3 cats, and a handful of chickens. Mr. Watson loved his chickens, and his chickens loved him. He started like any sensible person with 3, just 3. And every morning, he and Mr. Nelson would count them. 1, 2, 3. And every morning, he and Mr. Nelson would count them. 1, 2, 3. But soon, Mr. Watson's chicken collection grew and grew and grew. Before they knew it, Mr. Watson had 456 chickens. Yes, you heard right. 456 chickens. Oh my! That's almost 500. Wow. Oh. Their house was teeming with birds. Look at that. Whoa. Their house was teeming with birds. Chickens in the sink, chickens on the bed, chickens in the bread box, chickens on their heads. Oh my goodness. There were even chickens in the bathtub. Oh my, what would you do? Chickens in the sink? Chickens on the bed? Chickens in the bread box? Chickens on their heads? Please don't poop on them. There were even chickens in the bathtub. Oh my goodness. And the noise. Oh my, the noise. The house shook with it. Aunt Agnes made up her own song. Shooby-doo, wonky pow, baka baka, in the chow chow. And she sang it all the time. Do you want to try it with Aunt Agnes? Shooby-doo, wonky pow, baka baka, in the chow chow. Oh yes, she sung it all the time. Still, Mr. Nelson loved to cook eggs for Mr. Watson, so he was happy with his arrangement. Until he found 4 chickens in his brand new boots. Uh-oh. Mr. Watson, these chickens are becoming a problem, cried Mr. Nelson. You're right, Mr. Watson said, and he sat down to think of what to do. What could they do, you think? The next day, Mr. Nelson found feathers in his hair gel. Mr. Watson, cried Mr. Nelson, these chickens are a problem. You're right, Mr. Watson said, and he sat down to think of what to do. Better think fast, Mr. Watson. These chickens are a problem. Late that night, Aunt Agnes led the other chickens in a full choral rendition of her favorite song. Together, shooby-doo, wonky pow, baka baka, in the chow chow. Oh, it was all too much. Oh yes. Shooby-doo, wonky pow, baka baka, in the chow chow. Oh my. Can you imagine trying to sleep in all that? Mr. Watson, Mr. Nelson cried, these chickens are more than a problem. If you don't get rid of them, I am moving to the coop out back, alone. Mr. Watson loved his chickens, but he loved Mr. Nelson more. Without Mr. Nelson, his heart would be a broken egg. Decisions to be made. So The next day, the two men gathered up the chickens in cages, boxes, and crates, anything they could find. They loaded them onto wagons, all tied together in a line, and set off for the county fair to find the chickens a loving home. Yes, indeed. To find the chickens a loving home away from them. But just as they reached their destination, Mr. Watson tripped, and all the chickens were gone. No, Mr. Watson wailed. How will we find them all? Now the whole city would be littered with chickens. Oh, there's work to do. Oh no, we need to get out there and help Mr. Watson and Mr. Nelson. Whose chickens? Sure enough, whose chickens are these? People asked. The pico slinger cried. 10 chickens bobbed in her tub. Oh no. That will be me, said Mr. Watson, with a 1, 2, 3 as he moseyed over to collect up his chickens. Whose chickens are these? The cheesemonger cried. 20 chickens were feathers deep in their cheese. That will be me, said Mr. Watson, with a 1, 2, 3 as he sidled over to collect up his chickens. Oh my. Oh, chickens on the loose. Whose chickens are these? At long last, Mr. Watson and Mr. Nelson collected every single chicken. Oh, except one. Where was the final chicken? I did miss one part. The Nat Hawker howled. 30 chickens waited in his bins. That will be me, whispered Mr. Watson, with a 1, 2, 3 as he skulked over to collect up his chickens. At long last, Mr. Watson and Mr. Nelson collected every single chicken, all except one. Where was the final chicken? Where could it be? What do you think? Well, let's find out. Whoa! How are we gonna find that one missing chicken? Can you find it? Whoa! That is a lot of place to look. But then, shoo-be-doo, wonky pow, baka baka in the chow chow. The other chickens joined antagonists. Shoo-be-doo, wonky pow, baka baka in the chow chow. The crowd went wild. They had never heard such a beautiful song. Do you want to sing it together one more time? Shoo-be-doo, wonky pow, baka baka in the chow chow. Oh, one more time. Shoo-be-doo, wonky pow, baka baka in the chow chow. Oh my. Just then, an official-looking lady bellowed, "Quiet! Those chicks still up for adoption, Bob?" she asked. "I will take them all." Oh, gasped Mr. Watson. Oh, I've been looking for a new act for the fair. A big honking chicken choir is just what I need. Done, cried Mr. Watson. And the chickens had found a home. That night, Mr. Watson and Mr. Nelson ate their supper, and there were no chickens in their soup. They brushed their teeth, and there were no chickens in their sink. They got ready for bed, and there were no chickens in their pajamas. Oh. But Mr. Watson felt sad without his chickens, and Mr. Nelson did too. Now their house was an empty nest. Oh, was it? Dum dum dum. Crack, crack, crack. Under the pillow? What's that? Shooby-doo! Wonky pow! Baka baka in the chow chow! It begins again. 1, 2, 3. And that is the end of our story today. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Always a pleasure to be here with you all and enjoying lovely stories like this one. Thank you so much for joining in. We've been reading Mr. Watson's Chickens, and this one is written by JARRETT DAPIER and illustrations by ANDREA TSURUMI. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. I hope you enjoyed that one. It is indeed a beautiful one that always makes me laugh, and the best way to start the day, indeed, or indeed to end it, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed it. Ali Amin, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it made you laugh, and indeed, I hope you're singing that song the whole day today. Shooby-doo, wonky pow, baka baka in the chow chow. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I am glad we're here together. Please join me again tomorrow for more Storytime. And of course, if you want to see this one again, please do join us at 11 a.m. Pacific time and get to enjoy a lovely book indeed. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, we're not done. We're back tomorrow. More stories, and tomorrow we do bring back one that is indeed a good one, a story of just a story of pain, a story of healing, a story of overcoming, a story of many things, inspiration too. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope that tomorrow you're here for this one. And this is called Box. Henry Brown mails himself to freedom. It is a powerful story. Join us for this one indeed. There'll be bits that I will be reading just excerpts of, but indeed a powerful book to read together, and one that will definitely spark lots of conversation for us tomorrow. And this one is by Carol Boston Weatherford and illustrations by Michelle Wood. And we will be reading this one with permission of Candlewick Press. A big thank you to them for sending us these books and allowing us to read them here on Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope that you join us tomorrow for this one. Box, a powerful book indeed. Henry Brown mails himself to freedom, and find out how he did that. Thank you so much for joining in. But today we were enjoying the company of Mr. Watson's Chickens, and of course this one written by JARRETT DAPIER, illustrations by ANDREA TSURUMI, and of course read with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Thank you so much for joining in. Glad you were here. Always a pleasure indeed. Every day that we spend together, every day that we're here breathing, is the day to be thankful for. Thank you so much indeed for joining in Storytime, and I hope indeed that you have a lovely day out there, that we have this beautiful day as we continue to enjoy Pride Month, and of course as we continue to observe and learn about our communities, so that we can bring our best selves indeed to each and every opportunity to meet. Thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you were here with me today. Let us see one more time who was with us and got to enjoy that lovely story. Thank you so much for joining in. Amanda is saying, I listened, no watching after dropping the campers off, and very much enjoyed the Chicken Sons as I was driving. Such an adorable book. Yes, indeed. Also, heat is relative. I agree with you. Thank you so much. Everyone should enjoy ice cream to escape the summer sweat. Stay safe and hydrated. Amanda, Couldn't have said it better. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm glad that you're still able to join us and listen into that story. And I hope that you do indeed have a lovely day. And before the campers come, and of course, once the campers are back, I hope that the fun continues. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime and for everything that you do. Every parent out there, we thank you. Every adult that is out there, we thank you for everything that you do for our little ones, and including setting them up, getting them ready to be here with us on Storytime. I know it's not easy, but you make it work, and we do appreciate you. Yes, indeed. Strength to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And this includes everybody, any adult that is doing something to help our little ones, foster parents, everybody. We celebrate you. We appreciate you. And indeed, please continue that amazing work that you do. Thank you so much for joining in. I think I was reading somewhere recently and somebody joked and said, yes, we're parents. That's what we do. And indeed, we're adults, and that's what we're supposed to do. Thank you so much. Take care of our little ones. And I'm thinking, too, like many things, take care of this earth, this planet, so that we can pass it on to them in good condition. Who should be trying? Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. Ali Amin, you were excited for this book. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Always a pleasure indeed to see you out in sunny Washington today. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, to everybody else that is joining us for the recordings later on, we do say thank you. We send you love, and we wish you nothing but the very best. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you enjoyed this book. Find it at your local library. Find it where you find books and get to enjoy it some more over and over. And you can always come to the Storytime archives with your copy and read along with us, and we can enjoy together. Mr. Watson's Chickens was our book today. JARRETT, DAPIER, ANDREA, TSURUMI, and Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Please do join me tomorrow for a special one from Candlewick Press. And this one is called Box. Henry Brown mails himself to freedom. Join me for that one. Thank you so much for joining in. This has been Storytime for today, and we'll definitely see you tomorrow for more Storytime. Much love from me. Hugs to each and every one of you. See you in the morning. Bye-bye.
Storytime with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be